Okay, so this is one of the experiments that we are doing in circuits at the moment. It's pretty fancy. I got some of my new little portable lights here. I got a green filter and a purple filter over here, so that's just for, I don't know, interest's sake, why not? And what I've got here is I've put together 4 of these 1.5 volt batteries into series, so that gives me a total of 6 volts of power. And then roughly it's going to this light bulb and into this variable resistor. Now this one here is a potentiometer, so you can see how it's got 3 tabs on the bottom, and I'm not really familiar with exactly what these 3 different tabs do, but I have noticed that depending if I go onto these 2 or if I take the wires off and I put them onto those 2 on the far side, it just basically reverses it. So if you turn it clockwise, you'll get it to dim. If you turn it anti-clockwise, you'll get it to dim. So it just reverses the polarity, I suppose. I don't know. And I've got a couple of meters. These are the old school types. We haven't really used them in class, mainly because multimeters are so much more convenient. But here I've got my ammeter to measure how many amps I've got going through the circuit. It's connected into series with my circuit here. And depending on how much I twist this potentiometer, or the variable resistor, this actually changes. We've also got plugged into parallel on the actual light bulb. I've also got a voltmeter. So I can also monitor any changes in voltage as I manipulate the potentiometer here, the variable resistor. So if I just turn it, you can see here, I'll try and angle it so you can see both the light bulb and the dial as I start to spin it. So I'm trying to spin. Yeah, it's very touchy, so you can turn it all the way around to the most dim setting. So you can sort of see how, whoops, I knocked over my light here. Put the lighting over there so it won't fall over again. But you can see how that the slot is aiming this way. That's as far as the dial goes in the anti-clockwise position, and we can see that our light bulb is off. And looking at our meters here, I've got 0 volts, and I've also got 0 amps. As I start to rotate it, you'll see that basically nothing happens. I'm still spinning it, so now it's gone to, let's say, 1 o'clock position. Still no amps, still no voltage. Spinning it now to the 3 o'clock position, still nothing here, still nothing here, still nothing here. And I'm still rotating it. Now I'm at 4 or 5 o'clock on the potentiometer. Now I'm at 6 o'clock position, still nothing, and it's just that last bit of rotation. So if you can do that one-handed, last bit of rotation, and it'll actually kick on. This is very difficult. There, just the tiniest rotation here, and it actually kicks on the light. So when I have it fully open, I can see on my voltmeter. Now I've put mine into the negative and the 15 volts mainly because I've got 6 volts here, so it didn't make sense to put it onto the 3 volt setting, otherwise I would blow up the fuse. So I put it into the 15 volts. So I'm looking on the outer scale here, it's just 1 notch above 5, so it's perhaps just 5.5 volts. And then if I look at the current over here, I'm getting it didn't show anything on the dial when I had plugged it into the 10 amps, which means it's less than an amp. So I switched over to the 1 amp, which gives me more sensitivity. So now I have to read the bottom scale here. So it looks like it is, maybe just shy of 0.3 amps. So if I just back off the dial slightly without turning the light bulb off. So I've just backed it off a little bit. It's a little bit, hopefully you can see in the camera it's a little less bright. You can see we've dropped in voltage down from 5.5 to about 5 volts. On the current, we've dropped just slightly more towards 2.5 perhaps. Backing it down even more. Yeah, so you definitely saw that one dim. Now my voltage has fallen even more and fallen down to 2 amps here. So that continues to be the case until the light bulb finally shuts off. So I'll try and put these 2 meters in the camera view, side by side, and the light bulb. So I'll go back to full brightness. You can see what they are on the dials. And now I'm just slowly reducing that. And then it finally just drops off to 0 on everything. So perhaps what's going on here is that this variable resistor probably has a lot more resistance in total than we can actually push along with our voltage here. And the experiment is basically to take recordings of at least 4 different positions on the dial and then take some recordings off of there. But I think we can see that when you vary a resistor, it affects both the voltage and the current, not just one. Both of them are affected. As the resistance gets stronger, they both die off. As the resistance gets less, they both can come back up.